Penguins are entertaining birds, and it's not hard to find them in Antarctica. Like animals everywhere, the animals here are uniquely adapted for life on this icy land. But penguins aren't the only animals you'll find on and around the southern continent. No. Every animal you find in Antarctica has to have a source of food, and essentially, all of that comes directly or indirectly from the surrounding ocean. In fact, all of the native mammals, like whales and dolphins in Antarctica, are marine species. So, along with penguins, Antarctica is home to other aquatic birds, as well as seals, whales, and other less well-known but important creatures. The most important thing to know about the animals found in Antarctica is that they are all well adapted to the harsh climate they must live with, especially those that live on land but need to go to the water to feed. Marine mammals exist in the very stable temperatures of seawater, but the animals that don't live in the sea need more insulation to keep from freezing to death in the much lower air temperatures which occur there. Right, guy? Yeah, you need a parka. Penguins depend a lot more on water than other seabirds, and that tuxedo they wear is a real insulator. Very slimming on you as well. Other birds have feathers that grow in narrow tracts that they fluff out to cover all of their exposed skin. But penguins have feathers that grow all over their bodies, so they have more densely packed feathers to help keep them warm. And like marine mammals, penguins have a layer of fat right under their skin for insulation. You'll find 4 varieties of penguins that breed in Antarctica, and 6 additional species on your island hopping trek to the area within the Arctic Circle, ranging in size from smallish rockhoppers to the magnificent king penguin. All penguins nest in colonies called rookeries. Most of them use open nests lined with rocks, pebbles, and other debris, but the 2 largest species make no nest at all. Most penguin colonies are on land, but one variety, the emperor penguin, makes its colonies on the sea ice in midwinter. When you visit a penguin rookery, be prepared. They really stink. Not all Antarctic birds wear tuxedos and waddle. The continent is home to many gulls and gull-like flying species. While you're on or near the continent, you'll encounter many different varieties and sizes of petrels, and it's possible to see something as massive as a wandering albatross. Petrels are small to medium-sized seabirds, many of them resembling the seagulls you might be used to seeing. You'll mostly find albatross in the open sea while you're making your approach to the continent. They often follow ships to take advantage of the updrafts and air currents produced by the wind in the vicinity of the vessels, and the occasional treat supply by the humans on board. Albatross are the largest bird in Antarctica. The 2 largest albatrosses, Royal and Wandering, can sometimes have wingspans up to 10 feet. The smaller ones, often called mollymawks, usually have wingspans 6.5 feet. So any albatross you see will be an impressive sight. Closer to and onshore, you'll start to see petrels, and like those seagulls, they will just fly above the surface to scoop up whatever food they can find. Larger birds, like the skuas, go in after large prey and often feed on young penguins. On land, you'll find petrels breeding in colonies and nesting in protected places like crevices, under rocks, or within cavities and burrows that they dig themselves. But petrels and albatrosses aren't the only flying birds you'll find in Antarctica. During the summer, there is also cormorants, skuas, gulls, ducks, and terns. Their young are even called pups, but seals are fin-footed marine mammals through and through. They belong to the order Pinnipedia, and like other Antarctic creatures, they're all carnivores, or meat eaters. Hey, I can relate. Seals are dependent on the sea to live, and their bodies are well equipped to do so. They contain an enormous amount of blood in relation to their body size, about twice the amount of a comparably sized human. This allows them to hold more dissolved oxygen and carbon dioxide to survive long periods underwater without breathing. That's really helpful to them because seals spend a lot of time swimming underwater, sometimes diving 1,000 to 2,000 feet deep, looking for food. These deep sea divers can lower their heartbeat rate from 100 beats per minute to 4 or 5 beats per minute. Their body system allows blood to bypass muscles and organs that don't need a constant supply of oxygenated blood. They're able to keep enough oxygen to power their critical organs like the heart, brain, and spinal cord. Seals are migratory animals, and they travel great distances away from Antarctica during different seasons of the year. Whales, like dolphins and porpoises, are air-breathing mammals that have perfected the art of living in the water. This adaptation took place over the past, 50 or 60 million years. These giants survive by inhaling a massive gulp of air before they dive. Then they hold their breath underwater. To take another breath, a whale must come to the surface. Instead of having fur like many other mammals, whales keep warm through a thick layer of oil-rich blubber, which was a popular source of fuel for many centuries. On the shores of Antarctica, you can still see the massive tanks once used by commercial whalers to store whale oil. As you sail to Antarctica, you're likely to see numerous pods of whales coming to the surface. You can see them from a great distance whenever they produce a vaporous blow as they exhale at the surface. A whale's entire life is spent eating. What a dream. And Antarctic waters are loaded with their favorite meal, krill. The Antarctic krill is one of the most important pieces of the Antarctic ecosystem. Krill are crustaceans that are somewhat shrimp-like, but they aren't closely related to shrimp. There are nearly a dozen species in the Southern Ocean, and they are an important source of food for Antarctica's aquatic life. They form dense swarms and constantly swim forward by paddling 5 pairs of pleopods, sometimes called swimmerettes. If krill stop swimming, they sink. An adult blue whale can eat up to 5 tons of krill a day, and whales take about 30 million tons of krill every year. There's a lot of other aquatic life in the Southern Ocean, but much of it's in deep water, so some species are very hard to study. Antarctica is the home of 20 species of squid, which are an important food for seals and toothed whales, and for larger fish and seabirds. Most of the fish found here are bottom dwellers, and with water being so deep, you rarely get to see them. Thanks. Hi, fellas. Some of the fish you find here are dragonfish, shad, plunderfish, ice fishes, cod, eel, herring, and toothfish. But if you trek to Antarctica looking for a Friday night fish fry, good luck. It's hard to believe, but some relatively small plants also thrive here. But because of the harsh climate, plant life is very limited. They rarely grow taller than an inch. There are a few species of algae, lichens, and mosses, but no ferns or any familiar bushes and trees. You only find 2 species of flowering plants in the warmer northern regions of the Antarctic Peninsula. Only a few plants grow taller than an inch and a quarter. With the extremes in temperature, wind, and ice, well, it's no wonder there's not much plant life that would provide food for animals that lived on plants. This, however, doesn't make too much difference in the food chain. Why, you ask? Well, there's only a few tiny herbivores, insects and mites that feed mainly on algae, fungi, and rotting plant material. The only terrestrial carnivores are tiny mites that feed on the herbivorous mites and insects. Voila! The real food chain is in the seas around Antarctica, and there's plenty there to feed the seabirds and mammals.